Welcome to Simplify to Scale, a show dedicated to helping you scale a high impact and high profit business that you love without all of the complexity and chaos that can keep you trapped in the day-to-day. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and with decades of scaling experience, I know what actually works and what's just hype. So if you are done with all of the one-size-fits-all scaling advice and all of the overnight success promises, and instead you want proven practical strategies that will help you simplify operations, elevate your leadership, amplify profits, and scale sustainably, let's dive in and get started. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Simplify to Scale show. Today is the very first episode that I'm recording in my new office, in my new home in Austin, Texas, which is pretty exciting. So I have officially gotten divorced. I have driven cross country for 4 days and I'm settling into my new place. So excited to be recording something new. And as I've had a lot of time and space really to think a lot. If you think about 4 days in a car driving 10 hours a day plus, it gives you a lot of space to think. And as I've been settling into my new space and having conversations with people, there's a theme that has been coming up that I thought would be a really great topic for today's episode. And that is what to do when you are a visionary. And by the nature of being someone who sees things before other people, you have gotten bored with or lost connection to the thing that you saw before the market was ready for it. And so I'll give you a couple examples. I'm in this amazing group of absolutely amazing, really seasoned entrepreneurs, business owners, and I love so many of the conversations. And yet the other day, I'm in the Voxer chat and someone has this epiphany, and I'm saying epiphany in very big air quotes. And they're sharing this concept that is like brand new to them, or at least it's the way they positioned it. And everyone else is responding and saying, oh, that's so true. I never thought of that before. Yeah, absolutely. And meanwhile, I'm saying, really? I've been talking about that for years. How is it that you're just coming to this? And how is it that all of these really successful, really seasoned business owners are just now realizing this? And I was having a conversation with someone and they said, yeah, that's because you're a visionary and you're always like 2 to 3 years or more ahead of everyone else. And it was such an interesting moment because it's true. And they highlighted a few other things because they know me really well. And they said, think about your magazine. You had a body positivity magazine years before that was a thing. And you moved on to something different before that became a movement. And then all of a sudden, that's what people were talking about. And it spurred this whole conversation. And it really got me reflecting and looking at so often that's true. I am the first one to introduce a concept to market. I'm the first one to recognize something. I'm the first one to design something or create something, which is what I used to do in my jewelry brand a lot. And then all of a sudden, other people would start copying, or other people would start talking about it, or other people would start doing it. And at that point, it was kind of old news to me. I'd been doing it for so long, I was kind of bored with it. And I'd moved on to the next thing. And inevitably, I'd then be kind of frustrated that someone else got all of the recognition for something that I had actually created. And it was just this interesting conversation that we started having about how often this happens to those of us who are visionaries. And so if you are a visionary, you probably very much know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you are the person who partners with visionaries, something that's so important to recognize is when a visionary is bringing something new to market, when they have this new idea that is so ahead of the market, it can feel almost silly to pursue. It can feel like people don't get it. It can feel a little risky. And sometimes you can't even see it. But know that the nature of a visionary is they see these things before other people do. And so what do you do with it? One of the things that I'm sitting with right now is I very much am seeing what's coming in small business. I see the future of small business. And as a result, the visionary in me, I want to pivot everything and I want to be ready for it. And I want to be 30 steps ahead of the market. And I am doing a lot of that behind the scenes. I've got some really, really, really exciting things that I'm working on that I cannot wait to tell you about, but I won't tell you just yet. But that being said, what I'm having to do is temper myself and control what I'm trying to do. So I'm not abandoning what I'm currently doing to pivot into what I'm seeing coming. And that's the dance. That's the balance is when you are a visionary and you want to bring something to market that is either new or that is ahead of its time, meaning people don't get it yet. You have that uphill battle of helping people understand what it is that you're seeing or understanding how what you're talking about is different in the thing that they actually need from what they're already familiar with, right? Sometimes the beauty of a visionary, people think amazing, great that you can see all of this in advance, but it's actually really challenging sometimes because you're talking about something before people are ready to hear it. And sometimes you're the one who's working really hard to pave the way for people to understand, and you lose all of that momentum. You lose all of that progress. You lose all of that like blood, sweat, and tears that you pour into doing that if you don't stick with it. And most visionaries being visionaries, you are off onto the next thing because you see the next thing. And to you, if you've been talking about something, especially for a couple of years, a few years even, at that point, you're usually so bored with it. It's so old news to you that you're ready to move in the direction of what you see next. But the market is still just barely grasping what you're talking about. You feel like all you do is talk about the same exact thing. And of course, everyone else must get it by now. But they don't. And so the risk you run if you pivot is, again, somebody else will step in at just the right time and it will end up being their idea or their concept or their IP. And they become the one that's known for it instead of it being both attributed to you and instead of you getting the actual return on all of that effort that you put in to bringing something new into the market and sharing new thought leadership and introducing new concepts or new frameworks or methods or programs or products even to people. And so how do you balance the two? If you know you run at a rate that is a couple months, a couple years, even decades ahead of other people, how do you stick with something for long enough when to you it's old news and you're already bored with it and when you're already seeing the next thing? And that is something that you have to answer for yourself because everyone has their own ways of doing it. But for me, what I've learned is I need people that remind me that I'm doing this. Just like that conversation that I had where someone said, well, yeah, that's because you're a visionary. So you saw this before they saw it. It's not old news to everyone else. It only feels that way to you. It's like you need someone else who can see that and remind you of that. Because even though I could say this to you right now and you say, oh, of course, yeah, you will forget because immediately it starts to feel like, well, of course, everybody knows that. I've been talking about this forever, or I've been selling this forever, or I've been doing this forever. And so whether that your right-hand person, and if you are the right-hand person, you need to be the person who's holding this for that visionary that you're partnering with. If you are the visionary, you need a right-hand person or a coach or a business bestie or someone who's reflecting that back to you. You also, this is where putting systems in place, where putting structure in place can be so beneficial because you might be sick of talking about something. You might be sick of doing something. You might want to pivot your focus and your attention to the next thing to get ahead of it, which is very much where I am right now. But when you have the right team and the right structure and the right systems in place, that message, that movement that you already started can continue on without it taking as much of your time and your focus. So you can keep that engine running, if you will, while also still remaining innovative, remaining visionary, and starting to introduce and work on the next thing that you already know you're going to be years ahead of. So take a few moments and reflect on what you can put in place to balance the two of those, to give yourself the space and the leeway and the flexibility to be the incredible visionary that you are and to be innovative and to work ahead of what other people are seeing without losing the focus, and losing the momentum on what you've already been doing for this whole period of time where your clients, the market, others are starting to catch up to what you've seen for quite a while now. It is that delicate balance, as I said, of the two. And so what is it and what path allows you to maintain both? And where can you surround yourself with the right people or the right systems or the right structure so you can maintain what you have while getting ahead of what you see coming next? So I hope you got a lot of value out of this episode. I will see you again next week. If you are a visionary founder ready to get yourself out of the day-to-day operations of your business and scale in a much more simple, sustainable way, I have just the thing. Register to join me for my Scale Simpler workshop at scalesimpler.com. In it, I break down the hidden barriers that keep you trapped in the day-to-day of your business and what to do to finally extract yourself once and for all so things do not keep coming back onto your plate. And if you're someone who partners with founders as their right-hand advisor, consultant, or fractional, I invite you to explore our scaling certification and licensing programs at strategicopsinstitute.com.